On paper, Gladiator sounds like a nuisance to fight against, with 2 different unblockables, a few ways to punch you, increased stamina and stamina regeneration, and fast light attacks. But fortunately, Gladiator is not overpowered. Ubisoft did a really good job at making the new heroes fair, and Gladiator feels like he could have been in the game from launch. So Gladiator is an assassin to the core: fast movement, low health pool, reflex guard, and a deflect. Gladiator can really control the fight if you think quickly and know all of your options all the time. Gladiator can also play really aggressive if you can read your opponent as well. So as usual, I'll be breaking this guy down into offense and defense, so let's get right into it. So on offense, let me start off with the most basic attack, a regular light. The side light attacks are just as fast as Kensei's top light and Valkyrie's light attacks. You can even trade from neutral with a Peacekeeper. The light attacks are relatively safe to throw out during the neutral game and can be followed up with a second light, which is slower than the first, and continue the chain from there. Or you can follow up your first light attack with a heavy, either a standard heavy or a skewer, both of which can be feinted to keep the pressure on your opponents. You can also perform a light attack while dashing in any direction except backwards, letting you punish slow attacks or reactable melee attacks like Nobushi's kick. Any dashing light is extremely dangerous though. If your opponent blocks your dashing attack, you will be open to an uncounterable guard break. As for heavy attacks, they're pretty standard. They're not too fast, but they are useful at punishing whiffs from a distance. Now if you can follow through with any attack, either connected or on whiff, you can pull back on your left stick and press heavy to perform a skewer. A skewer can be performed after a deflect as well. The skewer attack is an unblockable that pins your opponent to the end of your trident, and you have control from there to either throw your opponent by pressing guard break or doing nothing and letting your bleed build up. The longer you hold your opponent at the end of your trident, the more bleed damage accumulates, up to 3 ticks. If you let the whole thing go through, you'll do as much bleed damage as Peacekeeper does when she stabs you 3 times. The third option from skewer is punching your opponent to stun them, but that only works against the wall. If you choose to throw your opponent, you can still manage to get wall splat and continue your combo as well. Next up, we have the punch and toe stab. So if you parry or dodge in any direction, you can perform a shield bash that will temporarily stun your opponent. If you dodge into the bash, you can follow up with a heavy, but it can be blocked and the stun isn't that bad, so don't rely too heavy on it. It's basically the same stun effect as when Raider hits you with a stunning tap, so you can still see what your opponent's doing. The bash does take a chunk of your opponent's stamina if you land it though, so it's a great way to stop an attacker from throwing out constant blows. The toe stab is actually pretty useful. Unfortunately, you can't follow up with any free damage, but it does come out fast and does a tiny bit of damage itself, and can even kill your opponent. It basically sets you back at neutral and pushes your opponent back just a little bit to keep them out of your reach. If your opponent is out of stamina, the toe stab will even knock them down, allowing for a free heavy or whatever else you please. You can perform the toe stab at any time, even during a combo, to try and bait your opponent into believing you're going to do a skewer. And now let's talk about that zone attack. The zone attack is very useful. It's a 2-part attack, the first being a shield bash and the second being a trident swing. You can cancel the attack after the first shield bash by pressing B or circle. If the first part connects, the second one does too, granting a decent amount of free damage. The move is pretty telegraphed though and can be easily dodged since you have to stand still for a while and you glow orange, but it can catch your opponents off guard and does stamina damage as well. And finally, let's talk about my favorite move, the bamboozle. It's not the most useful move in the game or in Gladiator's kit, but it does have the best name. If you whiff your sprinting heavy, you can press guard break to punch your opponent and leave them stunned. I've lost a few fights going for this move because its value is kind of limited. And that's basically everything on offense. There's a great opportunity to mix up your opponent and leave him confused and bleeding. His fast light attacks are great to have on your side, and his mobility is probably your best friend when it comes to opening your opponent up. Now on the defense. So as I said earlier, Gladiator uses the reflex style defense, which means your guard goes away shortly after you change stances, meaning that you have to block every attack manually, even if it comes from the same direction. You have the standard option of parrying your opponent and the assassin specific deflects. So after parry, you can press guard break to throw out a counter jab, which you can immediately follow with a free heavy attack. Or you can just go for light, since heavy attacks aren't guaranteed after parry anymore. If you miraculously manage to land a deflect, you can press heavy to get a free skewer, which the standard rules apply from. Overall, Gladiator is just a lot of fun to play. His attacks feel great when they land, and successfully mixing up your opponent feels better than ever, since it's not handed to you. His super fast attacks are annoying to fight against and very difficult to parry on console. Anyways, if you found the video helpful or just enjoyed it, feel free to leave a like since every single one of them help, and subscribe if you're new, especially if you want to see the Highlander guide. Also, if you want, you can join our Discord, the link is in the description. I'm very active in there and I talk with you guys directly every single day, and it's just a great place to talk about the game. Anyways, I'll stop wasting your time. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.